Today on the channel, it's the return of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, and in honor of WrestleMania season, we're counting down the top 5 Cody Rhodes AEW figures of all time.
The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another edition of the Kyle Peterson Top 5, a Thursday tradition here on this very YouTube channel, where every single Thursday I'm counting down my top 5 and sometimes top 10 favorites of something, and today we're getting closer and closer to WrestleMania, so it's the perfect time to do a top 5 Cody Rhodes countdown. We've already done the Jax, we've already done the Mattel, now we're going to do AEW, and maybe we'll do a super countdown to finish it off. We'll see what happens there, but this is the top 5 AEW Jazzwares Cody Rhodes figures of all time as voted by me. Of course, as usual, this is my list. Put your list in the comments down below, and we know Cody was off to the races from the minute we started getting figures from Jazzwares in the AEW brand. They gave him a figure in about every single line, multiple chases. There was a lot of Cody figures, and a lot of people said it is Cody overload, but we always take that business step back here on the channel, and you got to have the tip-top stars out there in front all the time, and that's what AEW was doing with Cody. Now we're going to see Mattel take the reins, and we already know we have basics, we have elites, we have Stardust coming, we've got an ultimate version. There is going to be Cody Rhodes overload for the next couple of years in the Mattel line, just like we saw with Jazzwares. So very easily we could do the top 5, top 10 Mattel figures over here in a couple of years. There's going to be a lot of content as far as Cody Rhodes goes. But today, once again, we're talking just AEW Jazzwares figures. And we're going to start at number 5, work our way to number 1. Of course, number 1 being my favorite. Once again, make sure you put your list in the comments down below. So without further ado, let's get after it. Let's kick it off at number 5. We kick off the top 5 Cody Rhodes AEW figures of all time, and we go to the Unrivaled line. Of course, the first line we did see from Jazzwares in the AEW figures, and we're going to go to Unrivaled Series 4. However, a little curveball here. I am going to go with the Chase edition, and I did bring the regular edition, which I do have loose right here. I went back and forth, and these lists, I always do that. I get my list together, I sleep on it for a day or two, things might switch around, then maybe I move it again, and I went back and forth between these two. I really do like this one as well. Obviously, the heads are going to be the same on these. The difference is the tight colors, and difference is the shirt. And I said, you know what? Dogs always win at the end of the day. I'm a dog lover, so he has got Pharaoh right here on the front. I love he's holding the bloody knife. Just a very cool shirt. I decided I like this shirt more than this shirt. I absolutely love the head sculpt on this one. The smiling kind of happy face of Cody. When I close my eyes, and there's so many nights a week where I close my eyes and I think of Cody Rhodes. Well, maybe not, but when I do think of Cody Rhodes, this is the head sculpt I really think of. That smile, that infectious smile, some might say, of Cody there. Looking really good. I do like the gold kind of rust color tights here, as it is so different than the other stuff. We always think of the red, white, and blue stuff. We think of the black coloring with Cody, but this is such a different color that we don't see a whole lot, so it makes it feel a little bit more special. The shirt I absolutely love. It's really cool that it is a Chase edition as well. That gives it a couple extra bonus points, but I don't necessarily think a Chase is the greatest thing just because it's a Chase. Still got to be a good figure, but it is cool that it is a Chase edition. But all in all, not the best Cody figure. That's why it's number 5, but very cool. And we're going to Unrivaled Series 4 as our number 5 Cody Rhodes figure. Continue on with our countdown, and once again we go to the AEW Jazzwares Unrivaled line, and we take it all the way back to Unrivaled Series 1. A lot of fuss about that set, a lot of controversy with that set as well. We do remember Brandy Rhodes not being shipped to stores, kind of being an online exclusive. We remember some stores getting a lot with those big pallet shippers at the time, some stores getting nothing, and we do remember that the Chase figures seemingly never hit retail for whatever reason. I guess they almost all went to Ringside Collectibles and maybe a couple other places. But for whatever reason, the rare editions really didn't hit Walmart. I don't remember. It's been a while at this point. I don't remember a lot of people finding them at retail, especially considering this day and age where we see people find 4 at one store from time to time. But we do got to also remember back to AEW Unrivaled Series 1, we had a little bit lesser quantity, so that has something to do with it. And all this story goes into, coming in at number 4, Unrivaled Series 1, the Chase Edition, Cody Rhodes. Now, this is an interesting figure as there was a lot of bad publicity. There was a lot of stuff about Series 1, as we remember. One of the big controversial things was the skin tone color, as they really did mess up the skin tone color on these figures. We do know they walked it back. They gave them a little bit of that tan color, but the Chase editions didn't fare that way, so it is pretty pale Cody Rhodes. A lot of people said it was the boy that liked turtles from that meme that went around for years on the internet, but it is an interesting figure, and I guess honestly, this is one of the rarest figures from the wrestling headspace of the last couple of years, as we only got 500 of these made. This is one of the most valuable figures of the last few years, and obviously the rarest, most valuable AEW Jazzwares figure to this date. So that is pretty fun. It is pretty hard to get. It is an exclusive, a Chase rare edition, I guess we'll say. So that does take part of it here. It is cool he's in a Star Trek The Next Generation outfit here. I'm never going to be claiming to be a big Star Trek fan. You'll never hear that out of my mouth. I've seen it. I know some of the characters, but I don't really know a whole lot about Star Trek. But apparently Cody's a big fan. He does have that going on. Just a very cool one for a lot of different reasons. Of course, the first ever series, the hardest to get Chase. Cody, one of the guys that kicked off the whole company and the toy line. Just very sentimental and very historic figure. And that's why it comes in at number 4 in my top 5 list. We've hit the halfway mark in our top 5 Cody Rhodes AEW figures of all time countdown list. Make sure you put your list together in the comments down below. Make sure you put them in order. That's the hard part. That's the fun part. That is the challenging part. And while you're here, make sure you subscribe to this very YouTube channel, as we got videos every single day, and then every Thursday we're doing countdown videos as well. We'd love to have you a part of it. So there it is. But coming in at number 3 for us today, Unmatched Series 4, Cody Rhodes in his suit. A fancy, dapper look here for Cody, as we saw Cody in a lot of suits back in the AEW days. Heck, we see him in suits in Mattel. You know we're going to get a suited Cody in the Mattel line. There's no doubt about it. But this is a very cool one. And of course, in this series, there was also a Chase edition. There was a Chase edition in a more tan outfit here. That made sense because he wore that as well. But between the two, I prefer the blue version. I love the head sculpt on this one. It's a shouting, kind of angry Cody, but it really does, when you close your eyes, this is how I think of Cody Rhodes a lot of times. I talked about that smiling face. Same thing as we have here. Just really got the likeness down pat on the AEW team here. Just looking really good. It's a cool suited one. It's one we usually don't see. We usually see the more traditional suit. We don't get the long coats like this and usual things. Just very cool, very different. And we knew a suited Cody was coming sometime in the line. This was our first one. Obviously, if he would have stuck around, we would have saw different Codys in suits, I have to think. But for what we got, this is the representation, Unmatched Series 4. Pretty cool. So cool, in fact, it comes in at number 3 in my top 5 list. We are getting closer and closer to the end, as we're at the number 2 spot in our top 5 countdown, and number 2 comes to us from our good friends at Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle. Save yourself 10%. Of course, you guys know that by now. But this was a Ringside Collectibles exclusive of Cody Rhodes, and it was a 2-pack. I think a lot of longtime fans know where this is going. It is the Blood and Guts Cody and Dustin Rhodes 2-pack, of course, from their historic Blood Brothers match. A bloody, gory match, and the first in the Blood and Guts line. Absolutely a game-changer action figure, and we've seen the success of this Blood and Guts pack segue itself into numerous new Blood and Guts packs, as basically we're getting a new pack about every year or so from Ringside Collectibles, and I absolutely love a bloody figure going all the way back to the Jakks Classic Superstars Terry Funk 1 of 100 Bloody Edition, one of my, if not my favorite figure of all time. Cody Rhodes, this one, right up there. This is, of course, a very easy repaint. Repainted in blood, bonded by blood, like a young Exodus, some might say. But a very cool one here. Of course, like I said, we've had Dustin and Cody in his simple repaints, but the blood and guts, the gore added to this really takes it to the next level. And I'm an old school wrestling fan of the blood and guts days, the old NWA times with Dusty, of course, bleeding all over the place, Tully and Arn bleeding all over the place, and you know where it goes from there. But I love that blood and guts stuff. So to get it in action figures that are really at the top of their game here, of course, the big lines being Mattel and Jazzware being the two big companies, I think is something very cool, and it makes sense. It's a Ringside Collectible exclusive. I don't know if you could see this being sold at the Walmart stores of the world, but a very cool set that really changed the toy industry, or wrestling toy industry in some ways, as like I said, we're also getting these every single year in a different blood and guts set. from Ringside Collectibles, and just recently they announced the CM Punk MJF dog collar match as the next Blood and Guts exclusive. So very cool, very historic, but a very, very awesome version of Cody here. So coming in at number 2, the Blood Brothers Blood and Guts Ringside Collectible exclusive. All right, we've come to the number 1 spot in our top 5 Cody Rhodes AEW Jazzwares figures of all time. You got your list together? Put it in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. You might as well like the video, subscribe to this very YouTube channel, because we got videos every single day, including every Thursday, a countdown video. But let's get after it at number 1. I think most of you guys know where this is going. I think most of you guys and gals, don't forget those gals out there. I think you guys have probably the same one as your number 1 spot. I'm sure somebody has some different stuff. But there's no doubt in my mind this was the number 1. When I first put this list together, it was number 1. It stayed at number 1. What are we talking about? Well, we're going to the AEW Supreme line. Supreme Series 1, Cody Rhodes, the old nightmare himself, and I do got a mint unbox one as well. Of course, we do know there is also a Walmart version with a little differences here. Not really counting that one. They're basically the same with different tights going there, but I'm calling the regular edition here for Cody as my favorite. This Cody, just absolutely a game changer. Talk about a cool concept figure-wise. Take Cody out of it, the Supreme line is very cool. It is the answer to the Mattel Ultimates, as we know. But you basically get a 2-in-1 figure here, which I think is really, really cool and very revolutionary, but a little bit of a headache too, because I don't know if you're like me, you got to track down another body to use to make sure you get the whole thing. And when you got a guy like Cody that has a dream tattoo, you can't just use any torso. You got to find an older Cody to use, and that's what I had to do. But when I close my eyes and I think of Cody Rhodes, even to this day, this is what I think of. I don't go back to the day where he used to wear the bag on the head or had the mustache or anything like that. You think of him in the entrance jacket, the pomp, the circumstances, all that kind of stuff, just looking good. And this is Cody to a T. It'll be very interesting where the Mattel Ultimate goes. Of course, that's coming out later this year. That's what a lot of people are going to compare to, and we'll definitely do that here on the channel as well. What will win, the Supreme or the Mattel Ultimate? Going to be a duke out. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be an amazing adventure when that time does come. But this Cody, no doubt in my mind from the get-go, it was going to be number 1, and it stayed at number 1. Now, once again, I'll ask you guys, what is your number 1? What is your top 5? Put it in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to this very YouTube channel. Don't forget about the Patreon. We get early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, monthly Q&As, you name it. A lot going on over the old Patreon channel, so definitely check that out if you want to support the channel and all of its content. And you can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson, and don't forget about social media, SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for the top 5 AEW Cody Rhodes figures of all time, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.